kind of feel bad for Umisho. I won't lie. The reason why is because I feel like it was a relatively fair take, but maybe it was just, I don't know, maybe it was like worded improperly or felt kind of condescending or rude. But like, I'm a rude person. I don't really care what other people think. So I think for the most part, Umisho's kind of spitting. Let me show you guys the tweet. So Umisho said, "Please don't DM me to ask for sets if I don't know you. Thank you." And someone says, insert MFCR tweet. MFCR said, "This is how it feels to ask top players for games," right? And he's like begging at their doorstep with money. And MFCR says, "I don't believe on this shit anymore. Some of y'all are actually just too scared to ask." Okay. So we can refer to Umisho's tweet again. And Umisho comments under this person and says, "Most people, me including, just don't want to commit their time to playing someone they will probably get no meaningful practice out of playing. And I don't think that's weird." If you ask me, I also don't think that's weird, right? I think the arguments people have against Umisho in this instance are, hey, Umisho, you used to not be one of the best players in the world. How did you get better? You played against stronger players, right? I'd assume. Why won't you now share that knowledge with us? No fair. I bet you anything that more than likely a lot of the games that Umisho played to get better were against other strong players that they knew. That they knew personally. Or they were at an actual venue, like a tournament venue, and played sets versus stronger players. But I feel like this tweet was too fast. It was one of those tweets where it just wasn't all the way thought through, because they put out like an apology after, where I believe they recant like the main sentiment, and they say, I mean, don't DM me, do not message me, messages can be ignored. I don't want to have random people in my messages. I think it was the response, not the initial tweet. Yeah, people were mad about the part where Umisho said they will probably get no meaningful practice out of playing them. I don't think that's weird. There are certain instances where if you're a better player, you can probably find some amount of practice on like the repetition of making sure you have your combos down, or practicing like whiff punishment or execution in some way, or like understanding like what weaker players think, maybe, right? Like the psychological aspects. But if you already have a lot of those things down, especially if you're at the top of the game, like Umisho, you probably know this shit. Let me be quite honest. If you're like top 5 in the world for your game, top 20 in the world for your game, especially a game as big as Strive, you already know that stuff. That's not really meaningful practice. For the most part, it's not really meaningful practice. Right? And when you think about that, it does feel like a waste of time when you could instead be playing against someone who is significantly stronger, I mean significantly closer to your level. So there's more actual thinking points in the decisions and interactions that happen on the screen. Someone said, while some of those might be creepy, I feel like appreciating the fans that you got would be advisable. You have an icon status for many queer GG players, especially young ones, and that's really cool, and letting them down gently would be nice. I hope this gets resolved easily, though. And Umisho says, I'm not an object. That's very true. No one said to look up to me. I press buttons in the video game good. I'm not a fucking celebrity. What the fuck you coming over here asking for an autograph and a first to 5 for? I'm a dude or a sis or a they them that presses buttons in the game good. I have no obligation to play you. I said that to someone because they said, I could probably find it. It's probably really easy to find. Oh, that was scary. I could probably find it pretty easy. Because I don't respond to a lot of stuff. Thank goodness. It says, you're a fighting game player, not a celebrity. Someone said, say it louder for the egotistical, sarcastic nerds in the back. And I said, not a single soul is obligated to play someone else. I don't know why it's a hot take to say don't DM me for asking for a set. Right? The other part about no meaningful practice or you're worse than me, leave me alone. If you're like talking about as a DM, yeah, that's fine. if you're at a venue and you run into them and they're not doing anything and they have time to play you in a set, cool. But if they tell you no, don't fucking be disrespectful of their time and their decision. Just like you can be a better player, a worse player than someone, and if a higher level player asks you for a game because you play a character that they don't have a lot of experience against and just really need to see the moves or the interaction points on screen, if you tell them no, they shouldn't be like, wow, that's really rude of you, I'm a top player, how dare you not fucking play against me. Now, you see how it sounds just as stupid in the opposite direction? I said even more so, if you value your time too much to play someone outside of ranked or quick match, that's totally okay. Because I bet if you run into Umisho on stream and you see them in tower playing against random ass fucking people in tower and you're like, hey, I'm gonna try to hop on that cabinet next, I'm more than certain Umisho would be like, yeah, that's fine, hop on the cab. If they're just playing in tower, they're not playing with friends, they're playing with randoms, in that instance, it'd probably be okay. Someone told me, Sly Tiger, I do think it's difficult to make enough time for everyone, and that's understandable. I think how the tweet was worded was condescending, though. Who cares about your feelings? Shut the fuck up. Who cares? No one is obligated to make other people feel better. This is weird. This is weird. And it says, and it's just untrue that you can't get value from playing against people you're better than. Different kinds of training. The tweet says, probably no meaningful practice. Not absolutely no meaningful practice. So yeah, there's like small things you can pick up, but probably something that you could do against a fucking bot. Like against an actual legitimate CPU, if you're that good at the game. Right? And who cares if what you said was condescending if it's true? If you truly believe that you will derive no meaningful practice against another human being, you are not of any obligation to play them. Who cares? Who cares? So, if you ask me, I'm going to say that Umisho was spitting with the original tweet, but Umisho recanting their tweet and kind of apologizing for it in a way that, like, feels less rude is fine too, right? If I can find the... Let me see if I can find it. Here's like the full apology. Holy shit, it's long, which is very unfortunate. Okay, so first of all, I want to make it clear that I'm not making this post as a way to dodge accountability or invite pity. My recent posts have been worded terribly, and any damage that I've done to my public image due to that is 100% my fault. That said, I think I owe it to myself, and as everyone as well, to try to clarify my words a bit better, as well as hopefully shed some light on what's gotten me speaking so rashly. First, I want to address the elephant in the room. I do not, in fact, believe that I am above helping weaker players. There we go. You could have just stopped there. You don't have to do all this. Whether it be playing some sets or just taking time to give advice, I've gone out of my way to do that plenty of times. Even if it's not so direct, I boot up Celestial and play games day in and day out, playing against anyone who happens to be at an empty cab. Like a lot of you said, even a set may not be technically worthwhile practice on its own. There's also value to be found in practicing things like my own execution and sequencing. Right? Like the little things, but that's all you're really gonna get, so that's fair. I could keep reading all this, but surely shortly spoken. Don't let Twitter bullying you into feeling like you're wrong. Don't DM someone asking for a set if that's the guideline they set. If you run into them in tower and you play them in a set, you got your set. If you see them at a major and they're not busy, and they got time for you to play a set, ask them then. If you see them at a local, ask them to play a little bit longer. If, you know, oh, you beat me to 0-2, you got to report it to the TO, but like, hey, can we play a few more games? I feel like that's reasonable, and most people would not say no to that, unless they absolutely have another game they got to go play, or they got to use the restroom, or they're busy doing something else. But generally, local is such a smaller, locals and regionals are so much smaller, that you have more time to just hang out and vibe. I've played 30 game sets at locals. For no fucking reason other than, yeah, man, I don't really feel like getting up. Let's just keep going. Fuck it. Against players better than me, against players worse than me. At multiple different games. Tekken, Soul Calibur, Street Fighter, Kianta, KOF, Grand Blue, Fantasy vs. Rising. Shout out to Wonderful Deluxe. Rookie numbers? Yeah, probably, right? But I'm just one man. Like she says here, she's just one girl. So it's only fair to feel as if you've been attacked by making a actual like normal statement, but only because you said it in like kind of a harsh or a condescending way. I'm gonna say that who gives a fuck if it's condescending or rude. I'm never gonna apologize for coming off as rude because I am rude. I don't care if I become the best player in the world for some specific game. I'm gonna be an asshole. It's me. Like, you joke, just jokingly, most of the time. But if you don't like that, no one says you have to be a fan of me. Nobody. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna be me. Someone said that K-Brad was an asshole. Never meet your heroes. Motherfucker, have you never watched K-Brad stream? Duh, I could have fucking told you that. He's kind of a dick, but it's funny. He's doing it entertainingly. He's not generally an asshole. If you walk up to him in a venue and he's got nothing going on and you ask him for a set, I bet you he'll play. I played Yipes in a set because he didn't have fucking commentary going on. I was like, yo, I've never really played Street Fighter 5. Like, what's going on in this game? He said, sit down. And I played him. Played him like 5 games or something. Got my ass beat every game, but I learned some things about Street Fighter 5 because I had never played it before. That's a lie. I played it at locals. But I had never played it at a venue. I think it was, I want to say it was Texas Showdown. And I played players who have walked by a casual setup for Soul Calibur or for Tekken or Virtua Fighter or DOA because they're like, well, what's going on in this game? I'm like, oh, I can teach you the buttons real quick. You want to play? And I'm definitely in the camp of, if I'm busy, I'm probably just gonna ignore your DM asking for games. I'm also a significantly less prominent and known player than someone like Umisho. So if I'm probably going to say no, because I don't feel as if I have enough time, I have a personal life, I have a stream to attend to, I have a wife, a schedule of other things that I'm doing when it comes to YouTube and all that. Why would someone who's at the top of the game with tons of time devoted to the game have time for everyone? They don't. So respect the way they decide to give advice and play sets. And if they decide that you're not meaningful practice, and that's the way they put it, but they still played you, or they played you at a venue, but literally won't play you, that is also their prerogative. Hold that shit. I don't care. Because someone asked me recently, I believe it was like, last time I streamed Soul Calibur, which was Saturday? Either Saturday or Sunday. I streamed Soul Calibur for a little bit. Because I just kind of missed it. Someone in chat asked me, hey, who taught you Soul Calibur? Like, how did you get good at Soul Calibur? That's what I was asked. No one taught me Soul Calibur. I played against Omega Zos, and I won a set against him, and I was like, yo, I'm kind of good. I'm kind of cooking. Maybe he was using that set to just find out new stuff about Zos at the time, because it was a mirror match. I also think Zos mirrors are very fucky. Like, you can be a worse player and still win at the Zos mirror sometimes. It's pretty hilarious. And then I played against Andrew in like a 1st to 5, 1st to 10 or whatever. And those were like the only real things that I picked up from other players when it comes to Zos. Everything else I learned by literally just playing ranked. I learned everything else about the game by playing ranked, by playing in tournaments, by commentating the game. I learned everything else by myself. So if you tell a top player, or a high level player, or a strong player, hey, you got good because you played against better players when you sucked, you asked them for sets, you went out of your way, why can't I? No, motherfucker, some of us literally just grinded ranked, or grinded tournaments to get better. Some of us did not ask for other players to pander to us and be used as like a stepping stone to get better. We just played in tournaments, you ran into us, and we were like, okay, this guy's gonna whoop my ass, but let's see if I can derive any meaning from this set. Let's see if I can figure out some stuff that I'm doing wrong. There is different ways to learn other than just playing against people who are better than you in a fighting game. And as a matter of fact, a lot of times, I think that playing against people that are too much better than you is actually a bad thing for learning fighting games, because you're seeing a part of the game that you have not attained or reached yet, so the decisions being made go over your head because you are not there. You are a baby trying to run, and right now, you still have not begun to walk. You are only crawling. And it makes for a harder learning experience because you play against these high-level players sometimes, and they respect things because that's just how they play, and they play safer, and they play more respectful, usually, because a lot of the risk-reward comes from playing safe. So when you play against mashing monkeys, or scrubs, I played against Tempest, man. He respected here, and like I did way better against Tempest than I do against these fucking idiots in floor 9. That's because the idiots in floor 9 are mashing on you, and you never learned how to beat the mashing there. You never learned how to properly frame trap. You never learned how to make your safe jumps real. So you didn't get mashed on versus higher level players. There is so much to learn in a fighting game even at the lower levels of play, that I think working your way up the ladder is probably the best way to learn at low levels. Once you get to that higher level play, once you're in Celestial, once you're in Master Rank, once you're in S rank or God of Destruction, or maybe even just the gold ranks when it comes to Tekken. Like maybe you make it like Tekken King, Tekken Emperor. Maybe it's time to start seeking out better training partners that are closer to your skill than moreover that are higher level. Because you've already gotten past the growing pains, hopefully, of learning the basic stuff about the games. The counter hits, the frame traps, the meaties, the safe jumps, learning all of those things that are necessary to stopping people from just mashing on you. I think this tweet, the poorly worded, is a sentiment I absolutely agree with. If I'm fucking busy and I don't got time for you, I don't got time for you. If I don't think that you're meaningful practice, you're not meaningful practice to me. I don't give a fuck what anyone else says. Hold that shit. Sorry. I think you should probably, as a lower level or mid-level player, learn by bouncing off of someone who is close to your skill first. That will always be my opinion. It could be wrong. You could learn better by getting your ass beat by a high-level player. That's okay. But that's not how I learned, and that's not how I've seen a lot of other people learn. Tell me how you feel about it down in the comments section down below. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more talk segments like this. More rant, discourse-oriented pieces about fighting game community and fighting game content. Anyways, this has been Beanie Thuggish talking about player agency to say that they don't want to play against certain people and don't DM them and ask them for sets and be respectful of other people's time. Signing out and saying peace.